Yeah, it's working.
All right, welcome everybody to the Locked In podcasts. My name is Matteo,
My name is Locke.
and we're just basically here to talk about, all about college football, NFL mainly, throughout the week. So we're a little bit late. College is in what is it now? Week 4 already out of 15. It's going by pretty quickly, and then the NFL we're heading into week 3 after
Yes.
Thursday night's game, but. Um, so let's just get into college right away. We got a pretty big matchup today at 5 o'clock. Uh, Illinois, Nebraska. Two ranked teams. Nebraska at home. Wyola's balling out. Nebraska's looking good lately. They're not like a big top 10 team just yet, but
Not yet, but they did. What Nebraska did do for the whole year is they canceled all in-person classes on Fridays. So they can party before the game.
oh, okay. So Nebraska's gonna be popping. Okay.
I mean, well, hopefully, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want Illinois winning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, what like realistically, what would you think is like the final score in this game? Who would be taking the lead in this game, and like what's the score gonna look like?
Um, I think realistically that Nebraska probably wins by 2 touchdowns.
By 14.
I think so. I mean, Illinois is 3-0, but they've played. The first game was against East Illinois, and they won 45-0.
Right.
I don't know who. Nobody's ever heard of that school before.
Well, yeah.
And then they beat Kansas, but like Kansas hasn't done anything. They've lost to one of the best Group of 5 teams in
Yeah.
Las Vegas, UNLV.
Sure. Yeah.
And then they only beat Central Michigan by like 20 points. I don't think so. And then on the other hand, you have Nebraska, and Nebraska beat UTEP by a lot. They destroyed Colorado.
Yeah.
Not like Colorado's any good, but
No.
they have a name to them. And then they beat Northern Iowa by 30 points.
Yeah.
And I find it funny though that the quarterback is literally copycatting Mahomes.
Yeah, I know he is like a copy.
He's
That was
literally-
gonna be my next point. Like he does look like he looks exactly like Mahomes. He's trying to get behind that, that Mahomes kind of thing, like which I find really funny. But I have to agree with you on this one. I think Nebraska is gonna win at home. I think Nebraska is gonna have like a really loud environment. Gonna be difficult for Illinois.
I
I don't know if 14 is a good one here because it is a Friday game, and Friday games sometimes they get very like I wouldn't say competitive, but sometimes
it's
like
definitely different.
it's definitely different than a college football Saturday. So I just think that I think Nebraska is gonna win, but they're gonna win by I think they're gonna win by 10.
Win
I
by
think they're gonna
10.
win by 10.
Right.
I think maybe Illinois can get back into it late fourth quarter or in the fourth quarter, but Nebraska's just going to be too much. But I could also see like Nebraska winning by 14 also. That's realistic.
Yeah.
And
It was funny. I saw it was a comment on the quarterback. I forgot his name, but he's the college football Jason Tatum.
yeah. So
He's now, and that person I forgot who they were, but they're not wrong. Like
no, not at all. No, not at all.
And bro, have you seen? I saw a video of Nebraska's like whole athletic what is it like the whatever they go like all the athletes, the gym,
Yeah.
the locker room for the football,
Yeah, the
everything,
facilities.
the facility. That is the nicest facility I've ever seen in my
Really?
life.
Nebraska?
It was like two football fields long.
Uh-huh.
It was like 3 stories, and I think that thing cost at least like
you know what? I think I might transfer
$300
over there.
million, bro.
Damn, that's crazy. But moving on. So who's like one of your matchups that you're kind of like looking towards?
You know my matchup.
I know
dog.
your matchup, but we're gonna
You
move on
know.
to that next. So what's like the matchup that you think is gonna like be up there?
Okay, so th- there's three matchups I think. There's three matchups I think is good, and then there's a couple other matchups that I would like to see what the result is, just because I want to see how teams do compared to other teams in the past.
Right.
So the three good matchups I think would be Tennessee, Oklahoma in Normandy, Oklahoma, Norman,
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
USC in Ann Arbor, and
Yeah. In the big house.
also Utah at Oklahoma State.
Utah, Oklahoma State
I
might be a game.
I
It
don't
might
think
be
it's
a
the
game.
best game of the week. I think it's probably the either second or third best.
But
game.
okay, in Utah, like, is Cam Rising gonna be starting? Like,
I-
is he back from injury? Like, have we looked at those injury reports?
Um,
Because, like, while you look that up and everything, like, I think USC Michigan, I like the matchup. On paper, it looks great. The one thing I must say about USC and Michigan right now, it's the fact that Michigan, they won the national championship last year with Jim Harbaugh, all that kind of stuff. Great run. Great run before he goes to the NFL and now is like the head coach of the Chargers and is doing great for the Chargers right now. But like Michigan's just looked flat lately. They
no, they're not winning that game.
they're not
USC's gonna
winning
win by
that
a
game.
lot.
Even if they have the home field advantage, they are not winning that game at all. Um so yeah, like they're just Michigan is not winning that game at all. I think USC, like, they have a better offense, and here's what I'm glad about USC now. The fact that like their quarterback play has been good, but also like the run game has been effective, but most importantly what keeps them within games and the reason why they were losing so many games, not because of Caleb Williams and how he was just trying to look for the big play every time when he was in USC, but the defense is much better this year.
It is.
It is much better this year.
It
And I
definitely
think that with all the talent that left Michigan last year, that went into the draft, that whole defense, that offense, Blake Corum, J.J. McCarthy and all that, like, all those guys are gone now.
Same
So
with UW.
now Michigan, like, they're looking for a rebuild.
Yeah.
Like, they have to rebuild that program back
They
up.
only have
And
Donovan Edwards.
yeah, but I mean that's that's really one of
What-
the only stars that they have over there.
The one thing Michigan, I think USC is gonna win by a couple of scores because Miller is looked really good.
He's looked good.
He's, in my opinion, the top 5 best quarterbacks in college football right now. But I will say Michigan benched their senior quarterback. So they're starting their freshman or sophomore quarterback. What is it? Or some
Yeah. No, I know. Like, I just think, in that game, Michigan and USC, in Ann Arbor, in Michigan, in the big house, it's such a hostile environment for quarterbacks, and especially since they're going to be starting like a younger quarterback, and this might be his first game playing in that environment.
I think it is.
I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than most people think.
Think so?
I think
USC's
that
gonna win by at least 3 touchdowns.
I think USC might call me crazy, but I think I think USC is gonna win by 10.
Only 10.
I think it's gonna be a kind of a low scoring game because Michigan they can't really do much but run the ball.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
can't do much
That's
but
what I'm
run the
saying. It's
ball.
gonna be a lot farther. USC's gonna win by a lot more.
Okay, I mean, true. They got some stud receivers out there. So, you know what? Instead of 10, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to up it up and I'm going to say 17.
17.
USC is going to win by
that.
17. I think it's doable. I think this Michigan defense is not ready for Zachariah Branch. They are not ready for that offensive attack that USC is going to bring. And especially Michigan is not ready for what USC is going to be bringing for Michigan because they want to bring a big boom. And if USC wins, they're going to stay at 11. They're not moving up in the rankings at all because everybody knows that Michigan is just going downhill right now.
Yeah. No, I understand.
So, I just think that. So, I say give me USC by 17 tomorrow, 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think then moving on to Utah, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State's going to win that, I think. The Cam Rising.
Upset right there?
It's not an upset.
But is Cam Rising still injured?
He's questionable. He's questionable for the game, so he might play, he might not play.
Right.
And
who's their
Oklahoma, the backup is Zach Wilson's brother. Who played last game.
Okay, that's kind of funny. How did he do?
I watched the game against Utah State, so he played against Utah State.
Yeah.
First half and a little of the third quarter, it was like neck and neck between Utah State. It made me see that if they don't have Rising, it's definitely a beatable team. And then in the fourth quarter, they
just kind of took off.
Yeah, no, they took off like usually happens. But then Oklahoma.
Yeah, they look good. Oklahoma State, they do look good.
Yeah, no, but they played. The only Oklahoma State game I've watched is when they played Arkansas, and it was double overtime, so it was a very close game.
Right.
And then on to the game of the week. Best game of the week definitely. College game day is Tennessee.
Wait, so hold on before you go over there, would you say that Oklahoma State and Utah, you're saying that Oklahoma State's gonna win?
Yeah.
By how much are they going to win?
Probably single digits. Maybe 10. 10 at max.
I'm going to, you know what? And I got to go with Oklahoma State, too. I got to go with Oklahoma State, too. And just because of what you said, because Cam Rising is a really good quarterback, but if he's not going to be playing, it is going to play a factor. I think if Cam Rising is going to play and he looks good and everything, I think Utah wins, but they're going to win by 7. I think if Cam Rising is not starting, I think Oklahoma State's going to win, but either they win by 10 or they win by 3. There's no in between. It's either going to be a really hard defensive fought battle, or it's going to be it's just going to be like a back and forth, and it's going to be like a late interception or something like that. So, yeah. But okay, now I know you're excited about this matchup, so go ahead, take it away. Tennessee, Oklahoma. Don't give me no 40-point difference because I know how biased you are with Tennessee. So
okay, so I think start off is Tennessee, Oklahoma. It's gonna be a good game and a great atmosphere because Tennessee's head coach Josh Heupel was the starting quarterback from Oklahoma when Oklahoma won their BCS Bowl, the National Championship Bowl.
Yeah, right.
And he coached there for a while and made the program pretty good. Then Oklahoma fired Josh Heupel and the whole coaching staff. And so now he's the coach at Tennessee, and Tennessee has had the 5th best recruiting class. Nico and the whole squad has been doing amazing. When they had Hooker, they should have made the college playoffs, but Hooker got hurt, so he didn't win Heisman or the playoffs. Heupel's been winning. Their defense is literally top-notch defense. They have not scored the team playing them in their last 4 games, what is Iowa, Chattanooga, NC State, and Kent State. So there's not a whole lot of offense there.
No, yeah.
But they have allowed 0 offensive touchdowns.
Well, that's good.
And
that's
they've
good.
scored 300 points.
But fair enough. And they haven't allowed a single offensive touchdown to Tennessee, which is really good for their defense. That says a lot. But I will say that, those are weak teams. Let's be honest. Say what you want to say. As good as they look on tape and all that. They're really weak teams, in college football. And this is their first true test. And it's also an away game, too, in Oklahoma. So,
that's true.
That being said, I think, I still think Tennessee's going to win it. Because I still think that they look much better. They look a little bit better than Oklahoma, offensively and defensively. I do think that. So I think Tennessee is gonna win that one, but they're gonna win by 7.
I just
They're gonna win by 7 or by 10.
I strongly disagree. The reason I disagree is also because is another reason I disagree is because Tennessee has one of the best defensive lines in James Pierce Jr.
Oh
And
yeah, I forgot about that D line.
Also, they have what's it 20? I forgot his name. Sometimes I'm not good at names.
It's
But
alright. Yeah.
anyways, Oklahoma's offensive line ranks 122nd in 3 and outs, 110th in third down, 117th in sacks allowed, and 116th in offense succession rate.
So you're thinking
That
this
is-
is gonna be a blowout game?
I don't think it's a blowout, but those numbers are really bad.
Yeah,
and
that's
Tennessee
true.
has one of the top defenses in the country.
Yeah.
I
that's
don't
true.
think it's not going to be a blowout,
Okay.
but Tennessee's not losing. He's winning by at least 2 touchdowns.
By 4. Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Like they're winning.
I think that's
I think
fair.
they
An
win
away
by, like,
game,
14
winning
to
by
17
14
points.
Yeah, an away game, winning by 14, a good strong win right there. I agree with
Plus-
it. I actually don't hate it.
Plus, the last time Tennessee played Oklahoma, I think it was in Tennessee,
Yeah.
and Tennessee was up by a lot, and then they went into like overtime or triple overtime, and then Oklahoma came back and won, but Oklahoma did some things to piss off a lot of people, like flip people off or do some other
Yeah.
things that they wouldn't have. So
Yeah,
I
it's
also
just
think
SEC, man.
the Oklahoma's not SEC. Now they're
Well,
SEC
now.
in quotation
well, yeah,
marks.
kind of.
This is also their first SEC game of their entire debut.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
their debut.
Right.
So I don't think it will be a blowout, but I don't think it's gonna be. It might be somewhat close.
I
but
think
not
it'll be
like,
close within like the first half. But
you
then
could-
I
yeah,
think
you could say
I
that.
think going into that half, I think it's gonna be like, tied at like if it's a high scoring game, and it's tied or something. I think it's gonna be tied at like 17 or it's gonna be tied at 14.
Yeah,
but-
I mean,
After that, they're gonna take off. Tennessee's gonna run the ball. They're gonna pass it. They're gonna be doing really well on defense. Those adjustments are gonna be there, and they're gonna show. They might get an interception or two during that second half, and that's what's gonna take it away. And I just think, like I said, I don't hate the 14-point difference. I really don't hate it. I just think that maybe Oklahoma's gonna have that chip on their shoulder. And they're gonna play a little bit harder defensively because they know that their offense is
But
is not like that good. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and
I
that's
don't-
really dangerous in college football because think about it like this: you're going up against
no,
all these guys are
there's
straight
been a
out,
lot of upsets this year.
and there's been a ton of upsets.
But this is the thing. Okay, this is Nico's first real test.
Right.
Because he hasn't
Yeah.
really played any good. I mean, Iowa's kind of a test, but they've played. This is his real test against a real big franchise. I
Right.
guess not franchise, but organization. And then also Sample Dylan. He has 9 rushing touchdowns. My bad. He leads the league in rushing touchdowns.
right.
And then you also have Thornton, you have McCoy, Squirrel White, and then you have Webb. I mean, there's
There's just
so
so
stacked.
many. Yeah, no, that's true. I see that. I think it's gonna be a really good week in college football. I think it's gonna be a really good one, very entertaining. A lot of different matchups, not the matchups that we want to see, but just wait until week
Georgia,
5.
Alabama's playing next
Georgia,
week.
Bama's playing next week. That is gonna be a big game.
I think Georgia wins it, though.
I cannot wait for it. I cannot wait for that game. But
I'm hoping
moving
Georgia
on,
wins.
I think the last thing I want to say about college football
Mhm.
is shout out to Arch Manning. Shout out to
no.
him. Look.
Okay.
Say what you want to say.
Okay,
Wait.
I
Hang on.
mean-
Say what you want to say about him. Yes, I know Texas went up against a really bummy
No,
team.
that's not what I was gonna say.
I just think Texas is number 1 right now in the country. Hate it or not, they're number 1 in the country right now. They're
Oh,
looking really good offensively. They're looking really good defensively. I know this next matchup against Louisiana Monroe doesn't look
No booty.
appetizing,
Let's
but
go.
Uh, but I just think that like this year, like so far from what I've been seeing from Texas so far, like as a team effort and all that, if they bring this team effort with what they've been showing and they can stay within those competitive matchups and everything coming up later in the season, and they can make a run for it in the college football playoff. And right now, for me personally, they're looking like my favorites to win the national championship. They're looking really good. Doesn't matter which quarterback you put out there. Doesn't matter if it's Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. I think both of them can get the job done. I think their biggest thing that's I've always seen out of Texas is that they're top 5 in the country, and then they go into the college football playoff where they're really close, and that one game always gets them in the end. If that doesn't happen to them this season, I think they will get to the college football. They will get to the national championship.
What
game.
I had to say for this is I do agree Texas is the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
And I do think the offense really looks really good with,
amazing.
I'm Isaiah Bond, then Blue, and then you have Quinn Ewers. But this is the thing. Quinn Ewers did really well, and then everybody had him really high up, and then all of a sudden he gets hurt, and Arch Manning comes in, and now he can run unlike all the other Mannings, and everybody automatically just forgets Quinn Ewers. And I disagree on you should not forget the quarterback there and just drop it because he's a Manning. Like, I love the Mannings.
Yeah, no, I know, but still.
Arch, he's played 1 game. He didn't
okay,
know a
true,
whole game.
fine. But guess what?
He's already has him up in the top 10.
Fine,
Heisman
but he's gonna be
voting.
starting this game.
Yes.
So I think this will be like this won't be his first true test because he needs to go up against someone that's like good, like someone that's like at least ranked
the
in my
Oklahoma,
opinion.
who's like bottom tier.
Yeah, I think no, just at least someone who's ranked. Doesn't matter like where they're at. I think that'll be his big first test. But I just wanted to give a shout out because what I saw from him that when yours went down and everything, I thought it was amazing. I thought the athletic ability was really good. His arm looks great. Yeah, definitely. But I think moving on from college football, now we go to the NFL. This is my favorite part. Week 3. Jets.
No,
all the way. What a game by them. I will say, I had him on my Pick'ems league. I thought in my Pick'ems league, I picked the Patriots because I thought this was going to be a close game. And I was really surprised that the Jets defense just shut down that terrible Patriots offense.
They had a good defense last year. It wasn't surprising. They just had Zach Wilson, who we'll see when he performs on Denver. But so far, every Jet quarterback to leave the Jets and play on the Jet on a different team has done well, just not on the Jets. So I think it's
they've revamped the offensive line. That's why they played so good.
Similar to the Panthers, if you play in the organization, you suck. If you go off the team, you do amazing because the organization just sucks.
Well, yeah, I know, but this time I feel like the Jets are actually starting to get something right, and they're starting to understand something. So, but
we do
great. Like not the best Thursday night game. But I think for the Jets, I think this is exactly what you needed. You needed a divisional win at home. And now you have a couple of days to rest to go into your next game. So I think, hopefully, Moses went down with the injury, towards the last little bit of the, I don't know, but I don't know his name, but I think it was a left tackle that went down with an injury. And as long as he gets back healthy, well, because he was the one that got traded from the Ravens. So he was a big pickup. So I think if he gets back healthy, I think the Jets are going to be rolling, and I expect them to right now they're 2-1. I think by week 5, I wouldn't be surprised if they're
second in the division.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're 4-1, and I don't know, maybe second, but I mean the Bills are looking good. They've been a surprising team to me too, but I think so. One of the matchups, obviously, this Giants and Browns game, I do not like it at all. I think the Browns are going to run all over the Giants. Myles Garrett is going to be a problem for the Giants. Daniel Jones is going to be on the ground this whole game.
I actually have a couple of things to say about that. One, I don't think the Browns are going to win by a lot.
I don't think so either.
And 2, Myles Garrett has, I just saw, has a questionable. I think he has injuries in his feet that he had from last year,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
we have the Browns have the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, fine.
So
But the Browns still have Zadarius Smith.
yeah, but Daniel Jones did pass for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, but I mean, it was
And with the
against
Commanders.
the Commanders who have a really bad secondary, and they're going up against one of the, in my opinion,
Yeah,
right
I
now
don't
that they're
know. I'm
rolling, they
hoping
showed
the
a pretty
Browns
good
will win.
battle against the Chiefs last week. So I don't know. I think I do agree with you. I think the Browns and the Giants game is going to be a little bit closer. It's not going to be very high scoring because both offenses are struggling, but I do think the Browns come away with the win, and at least they win by 10 or by 7. I think that's what they're going to do. Eagles-Saints is a matchup I want to see so bad.
I think
The Saints are
will win.
rolling. Derek Carr's looking
It's
great.
good. Actually, that is a very
It's an interesting matchup. You can't hate it.
the
That
thing
defense
about
is
that
playing
matchup
good.
is that I think it will see if Derek Carr is I think Derek Carr is actually a good quarterback. But this matchup is gonna test, at least for right now, to see if the Saints are actually a good team. So they did run all over the Cowboys, but
Right.
it could be just the one hit wonder.
Okay,
You don't. I'm
true.
not. I
no,
have the Saints
no,
up
no,
pretty
no,
high.
No. And you're
but,
right. And you're right.
I think they're one of the better teams right now, but you just don't know. You know?
No, definitely. I think, in my opinion, from what I saw from the Eagles last week on Monday night against the Falcons, I mean, they had that game in the bag. Like, it was done with. All they had to do was run the ball with Saquon. They were looking really good, with running the ball whenever they did with Saquon, and they did not do that on their final play, at all. I think, yes, the Saints have looked amazing, Week 1 win against the Panthers. I mean, everybody kind of saw that one coming. I didn't see the one from the Cowboys coming. It could have been a one and done kind of thing. I totally agree. I just think that this. I do agree that this is the first test that Derek Carr has, and that Saints defense is gonna have. But however, I will say, the Eagles still have no AJ. They're not gonna have AJ Brown this week because AJ Brown is still dealing with that injury, and they've been saying all over the media that he's gonna be out for at least a couple weeks.
That's why I'm saying the
So,
Saints win.
I think the Saints win. I think Saints win. Olave, he could go off.
No, it's gonna be Rashid. It's been
Rashid Shaheed, yeah, with those
it's
deep
been
bombs,
the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably. He's gonna get a touchdown in there. But
moving on to our next matchup in Vikings Texans. I think Texans win it, but
I think so too.
I think they win actually by I don't know.
I think they win
Because
it by
Vikings,
3.
Yeah, okay, I could go with 3. The Vikings have looked good,
Really good.
but
I think
I don't know.
it's just
you have teams that I'm not trying to hate on the Vikings here,
no.
but you have teams that are sometimes do really well for just 2 weeks, like Josh Dobbs or Mike White. You
Right.
have 3 really good games and then they
Right.
just go back to the earth. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they can keep up with the Texans. I will more believe it. I'm not. I don't know.
I think the Texans are gonna win.
Yeah.
Out of that matchup, just because that the Texans offense is looking really good. Joe Mixon, I think he's going as questionable this week, so he might not play. But, I mean, even if that, they still got C.J. Stroud, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. That offense is looking good. That defense for the Texans is looking really good too. But I will say, the Vikings defense is also looking pretty solid too. The fact that they held the Niners to...
But the Niners didn't have much.
I know, but still. Okay, but fine. Look at it this way. They didn't have much then. But also, okay, fine. You don't have... Debo didn't play. No, Debo did play.
Did not have
but
CMC.
I know, but okay. The Niners rely on one thing and one thing only. The run game and the play action game. That's what they rely on, and that's how they win games. And that's how they have done it for the last 3 years.
No, the Vikings did well. I just don't
the
think
Vikings have done well
because
because of Brian Flores and the way that he was able to disguise the coverage for Brock Purdy. Look at the tapes. I'm not saying anything. Go look at the tapes. Go look at the film.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I think he did a really great job with that. and shout out to him. You know,
And then
I still think Texans win by 3, but I think it's gonna be a very back and forth game. It's gonna be all about turnovers. It's gonna be very back and forth.
and then
Broncos Bucks.
Yeah,
It's Bucks all the way.
Yeah,
It's Bucks all the way.
And there's not much to talk about. The
No,
Bucks
there's
are one of
really
the
not.
best
Chris
teams right
Godwin,
now,
Mike
they're
Evans.
just gonna win.
Yeah, there's just too much.
I mean, but I did like that Baker Mayfield, like that running, bro. Like,
Yeah.
even though it was against my Lions, I do think that was. I was not expecting that. Like,
no, me neither.
I'm also a Browns fan, and he never did on the Browns. Like,
no.
Come on. Like, why does he have to? Maybe there's a Browns add to the list of Jets and Panthers in terms of
I don't know, but Baker's looked really good. I think this Broncos defense just can't keep up with Baker and the Bucks. And the Bucks defense has also played really well.
Picks,
And Bo Nix is he's gonna throw 2 picks this game, and one of them might go to the house. So just watch out.
Packers win by Malik Willis going against his old team. I think he will win. The Packers look decent against the who are they playing last week?
Packers. They played
the
Colts.
Colts. Yes,
Colts.
But the Colts, I don't know what happened to the Colts.
I mean, neither. I thought they were gonna be 2-0 by now. I'm really surprised that they're 0-2.
And then Colts Bears. I mean, that's literally flip a coin.
I think Colts win it.
You think Colts? Yeah,
I think Colts win it. Because I just think Caleb Williams, he needs to settle down because he's still playing. You know what? Here's the thing about Caleb Williams that I didn't like about him coming out of college. The one thing I didn't like about him coming out of college was the fact that he was always looking for the big play whenever he was at USC. When it was in Oklahoma, it was a different thing. But I know. But the thing is this. Like, go look at his tapes and everything. He's, like, running around and everything, and he's doing the same thing in the NFL, and you just can't do that. Yeah. I understand the Bears' offensive line is not where they want it to be.
It's horrible.
But I think that
not
as bad as the Patriots. But I think that if the Bears, like, if they give him a little bit of time and Caleb Williams can, like, read the defense a little bit and, like, take those easy throws, for those easy yards and just rely on the run game every now and then, I think the Bears can make this Colts game a lot closer. But because of what I've seen over him the last 2 weeks, I still have the Colts. I have the Colts in a close one. I think they're going to win by 3, but I got the Colts still.
Yeah.
I think Chargers, Steelers, it's hard.
Okay,
it's really hard to pick.
Okay, I think as being a Browns fan, I've watched the Steelers many times.
Right.
And the Steelers the thing about the Steelers,
they play defensive football.
The thing of the recent Steelers, and this has also happened in the past, but at least of the last 3 years, they somehow win games and then have a winning record, but then lose first round in the playoffs. So they're not that good, but they're, I guess, they win, but in the most ugliest ways possible.
No, yeah, and
then with the Chargers, I don't know. I mean,
it's
the
hard.
Chargers
it's
have
hard.
looked
it's a hard matchup.
Good, and J.K. Dobbs has done well for my fantasy team.
Yeah, very well. I'm sitting him this week, though.
I just don't.
I'm sitting him this week. If I have J.K. Dobbins,
I'm picking the Chargers.
Like, I will say, from what you said from that J.K. Dobbins comment, I will say this: J.K. Dobbins looked really good. I thought it was going to be the same old story. Week 3 he was going to get injured and it was going to be done, and it was going to be Gus Edwards all the way. Like, I think
the Chargers are.
It's going to be a very close game. I think Chargers. I don't know, because it's a hard one. Honestly, I feel like if you flip a coin, I don't think it matters.
No, that's what I was saying.
I don't really think it matters, because here's the thing. If the Chargers lose because of how well the Steelers play on defense, I wouldn't blame anybody on the Chargers, because it's a hard game. The Steelers play very hard defensively. The offense doesn't look great, but I like what I've been seeing from Justin Fields. Yeah. I like what I've been seeing from him. I want to see him a little bit more, and be able to make those tougher throws. But at the same time, that run game is okay. The pass game is pretty decent. The defense looks outstanding for the Steelers. I think this Chargers-Steelers game is all going to come down to turnovers. And it's going to come down to who punts the ball more and who has the ball more. That's what it's going to come down to. I think Chargers stay in it.
Yeah, and I think Chargers win.
I kind of agree with you. I think Chargers can win it. I think they win it by 3. But Dolphins, Seahawks,
Seahawks said they
Seahawks
don't
all the
have
way.
Tua.
They
And
got
Seahawks have actually
yeah.
the new Mike McDaniel. I know it sounds very similar to the
Yeah,
Dolphins.
Mike
But they're
McDonald,
very
yeah.
McDonald.
Yeah.
I said McDaniel. Sorry, McDonald is the Seahawks one. The Seahawks has looked pretty good. Geno's look good. DK's look good.
Yeah.
Lockett's not look bad. I think, and it's in
JSN's
Seattle.
looked really good.
In Seattle, it's gonna be raining, so the Miami Dolphin effect in terms of not playing well and weather that isn't.
Yeah, and also the fact that they get Skylar Thompson, like I'm not a fan
Mike
of it.
White.
I would probably I think either way, if they had Tua, I still think the Seahawks win.
Yeah,
I still think Seahawks win.
I think they definitely win
because they just got more depth in that offense. They have a little bit more depth on that defense. Even if they had Tua still, I still think Seahawks are winning that one.
And I think Kenneth Walker might be still out, but I
think so too. I don't know. It might be the Charbonnet show all over again.
And then for Panthers and Raiders, the game's just bad. I'm not gonna watch
It's
this
a
game.
bad one, but I still got the Raiders.
Raiders are gonna win.
I got the Raiders. They
They
can put Aiden O'Connell in there, and the Raiders are still gonna win by. They're
Max
still gonna
Crosby
win by
will be
10.
the player of the game.
Yeah,
Probably.
Max. He's
maybe
gonna
Devontae
get 3 sacks.
Devontae will get a couple touchdowns. Who
I
knows?
think this will be the game where Christian Wilkins gets a sack and a half.
Yeah, and then
I think this will be the one, even with Andy Dalton,
yeah.
that it's starting because he's I still wanted Bryce Young to start, but
I think he's good for him not to start to take the pressure off some, and
Yeah.
then for him to
okay. But say for
sit-
example, if Andy Dalton
he
has
hasn't sat for a game yet. Really?
yeah, that's true. I mean, I think this is a good one, but I still think they should have started him if I was up in that
I don't
in
think
that
so.
decision making, but
And then for our next
my
game,
Rams going against the Niners at SoFi Stadium.
Okay. I will say what I said earlier. I think Rams will win because they do not have Debo, they do not have CMC, and they might. I mean, George Kittle's really tough, but he hasn't practiced all this week, so missing 2 very key players in the play action and checkdowns, and just in general for the offense,
Right.
and then a banged up George Kittle. I just don't think Brock Purdy, not to hate on Brock Purdy, I just don't think he will do that well because, one, Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan are from the same tree, and I think Sean McVay is better than Kyle Shanahan, and so they do a lot of very similar things. I know the Rams don't have Cooper Kupp or Puka, it's going to be
so sad.
and they don't really have a defense like the 49ers. But when you look at Brock Purdy without those two, he does not do that well.
Okay. No, look, and I agree with you. I don't think
he didn't do well against the Vikings.
Yeah.
Last year he lost to the Colts, the Browns, and Chargers all 3 in a row. I mean, the Browns
true.
were playing PJ Walker. I mean, it was
Look, I think that I don't know. I think it's gonna be a close one because it's 2 banged up teams. Obviously, no Cooper Kupp or Nakua out there it hurts. I think it's just look. I want to say that the Rams are gonna win. I think that they stay within the point spread, and at least in sleeper, which I think it's last time I checked it was 7.5.
Yeah, no, they'll
I
definitely
think
stay within that.
I think they stay within it. But the thing about the Rams is this, we have no more Ernest Jones. We traded him for a bag of chips.
Why?
I don't know. I
He-
don't know. You know what? It's what I tell some other
Don't
people.
say
Whenever I talk about the Rams, we know how to draft really well for some
You
reason,
don't know how to sign.
but we don't know. We don't know how to sign.
Draft really well
We
that
don't
aren't
know.
first-round
We don't
picks.
know how to trade. We don't know how to trade at all. Yeah, you're welcome by that. You're welcome for that. By the way,
We got Jameson Williams, Hutch,
but
Gibbs.
I know. But hang on.
Goff.
Before I know. You can rub it in my face another day. But you can rub it in my face when
got a
the
Super
Rams
Bowl,
are out
though.
of the playoffs. I know we did, and I'm really happy about it. I just think this Rams Niners game, it's either gonna go one or two ways. There's no way about it. And I will tell you this right now because I've seen this game 1,000 times. Even when both teams are healthy, all this stuff, I've seen this game about 1,000 times. I think if the Niners are playing on their A game, and they stick to what they know, which is running the ball and the play action, just trusting the receivers that they have, like even with or without Kittle. Like if Brock Purdy has a somewhat of a good game, and the run game is playing good, Jordan Mason's gonna have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Juwan Jennings might have one over the air. And the Rams, we're not really going to be able to move the ball a whole lot because the thing is that the 49ers defense is almost fully healthy. They got Dre Greenlaw. They got Fred Warner there. They got Hufanga. They got Lenore, who's looking amazing. And that defensive line is just so much with Nick Bosa just alone. So it's going to go that way where it's going to be a blowout, or it's gonna stay within 7. That's the only way I see it.
Yeah.
That's it. I think before we go to your team, because that's my game of the week, I think Ravens-Cowboys. Ravens. I think Ravens win this one.
No,
Cowboys are not looking good.
Win.
I think Ravens finally get a win here.
Well. Then Chiefs-Falcons.
Chiefs. Can't bet against Mahomes.
Yeah, no,
can't
Chiefs
bet
will
against
do well. Kirk Cousins, we'll see how he does.
I think it's going to be a lot closer to what people think, but I still think Mahomes is going to come away with the win.
Bills win by at least a touchdown or 2.
I think Bills win by 10.
And then the next game, Bengals-Commanders.
It's interesting.
This is an interesting game because, one, it's a good game for the Bengals to bounce back on. Obviously, the Bengals, as you know, always start 0-2 and then do whatever,
Yeah.
I think the Commanders are not that good of a team. But Jaden Daniels has looked pretty good.
No, he's the X factor of that team. He's the X factor of that team.
Terry Scary's always does well,
He hasn't done that very well this season, though.
Look at his bro.
He started really slow.
I look at his quarterbacks. He's one of the most unlucky.
I know. But even with Jaden Daniels, he's not looking amazing, dude. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. He has Jaden Daniels.
But even with him, he's not looking great.
What I'm saying is he's not that good right now. He's decent,
yeah.
But Jaden Daniels also rushes a bunch, know.
Yeah.
And I do find it funny that the Commanders have half the old timer people with Bobby Wagner.
I know, yeah. It's kind of funny
Eckler,
to me. Yeah.
Zach Ertz.
It is funny. Yeah, it is very funny.
There's a lot of just old they've looked decent.
Yeah.
And then I think the Bengals will win though. Good.
I
start
think
off well. I was high on the Bengals this year. Clearly, they haven't.
They have
proved
not
me
lived
wrong right
now.
now.
Yeah.
And then you said game. I actually I don't. Is it game of the week though?
Game of the week and a shootout. Lions,
I think it's
Cardinals.
definitely a top matchup for the week because Cardinals.
That's my number one. That's my game of the week.
Very high on the Cardinals because they played the Bills really well. They did lose, but they played the Bills really well, and then they absolutely demolished the Rams. And Marvin Harrison Jr. looked really well, and Kyler Murray looked really well. And the Lions are coming off a loss to the Bucs. The Bucs are one of the better teams, I think, right now. But I think the Lions will figure it out. They will win the game.
Yeah, I think so,
I don't think they'll win by actually a lot. I think they'll probably a touchdown. Hopefully,
no, they're going to win by 3. Last-minute field goal, game-winning field goal.
And then Amron's a little hurt. But, we haven't really used Sam Laporta at all.
I think this is Sam Laporta's breakout game right here. I think this is the game where Sam Laporta gets a little more involved. I think.
How many sacks do you think Hutchinson get?
Kyler Murray is tough to sack. He's really tough to sack.
Baker Mayfield 6 times, and 5 of them was Hutch.
Okay, yeah, I know, but Baker Mayfield can't move as well as Kyler Murray can, though.
No, yes, you're not wrong, but the Bucs have a better O-line.
And here's the thing, I will say, because
he's going against Tristan Wirfs and those people.
Hang on. I know. But I will say this. I think Kyler Murray, I didn't like the guy at first, but now I'm really starting to like him. Even though he's a guy that, plays in my division and everything, I get it. But I think that Murray finally figured it out. By that I mean that his elusiveness as a runner and everything, and the way that he can, just stop on a dime and just throw a ball downfield 20 yards and just have it a perfect placement of the ball for the receiver to get it. I think that's one thing. And I think from what I saw last week from the Rams, showed exactly that he finally learned how to do it. That he's not like taking this team on his own, on his own and running the ball everywhere and all that. The run game for the Cardinals is looking really good. Look, I get it. They went against the Rams. The Rams are like one of the worst teams against the run. We're really bad. Like
Lions are a great team against the run,
but they're really
bad
good against the
pass.
run. But they're really bad against the pass.
But we've improved it some.
No, you have. I will say
I don't know
this.
how much, but we've improved it some.
I mean, honestly, the fact that like it was a close game with the Bucks last week, but
yeah,
I think, I think that the Lions got to do a really good job about covering Marvin Harrison. That's one thing, because Kyler Murray now sees him as his number one option. I will tell you that right now.
Who else is on that team? Like,
okay, Trey McBride, James Conner on a little check down. Like, those guys are still dangerous.
Okay, but they're not the 49ers or the other team, so they don't do check downs.
No, but
I'm saying,
saying that they just have this whole thing where like they're rolling right now and they're playing really well. They're playing really well on offense. Buda Baker had himself a game last week.
Buda Baker is one of the most underrated defensive players.
He looked amazing last week. He looked amazing.
Yeah.
And Jared Goff is very similar to what Matthew Stafford is. I will tell you that.
Matthew Stafford's so much better.
Like, he's so much better, but like, okay, like both of them can't run as much as.
No, they're not mobile quarterbacks.
They're not mobile quarterbacks. So I think that
one got a better offensive line.
Definitely.
Got a better.
I think like if you look at it on paper, the Lions have the better offensive line. They have the better receiving core,
team.
even without Amon-Ra. I think they still have the better receiving core. I think.
Oh, right now, yeah.
As of right now,
yeah. Without Cooper.
Yeah. As of right now,
yeah,
like I think
Jameson breakout year.
Yeah, Jameson's gonna have a year. Like I think what's it called? The defense is really good on paper. I like it. I like what they're doing and everything. I just think that pass defense needs to improve, because if that pass defense and that secondary doesn't improve, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to have themselves a game against the Lions.
Hopefully the Lions
home.
actually do something and Jared Goff's not like
I think Jared Goff will improve, because sometimes from what I remember when Jared Goff was in the Rams, was sometimes when he would come back from like really like tough losses and losses that were like, you know, they were somewhat close, but like he knew he could have done better. You know, I've seen him do one of two things. I've either seen him bounce back, have a great game, complete like almost 70% of his passes, like no picks, 3 touchdowns, like what you want to have in this game. And sometimes, like, you know, like sometimes they would get off to like a really quick start and they would stay within the game, which is what you want coming in this Sunday. What you don't want from Jared Goff is you don't want him to have a really slow start. You don't want to have the first 3 drives be 3 and outs, or have their first 3 drives like the first 2 of the first drives end in punts and one of them end in a field goal and Arizona be up by 10. You don't want that, because if that happens, Arizona's gonna take off and they're gonna stick to what they know, and by the time halftime comes around, they're gonna reset, recoup, and they're gonna keep running the ball, even though you're really good against the run, and they're gonna catch you with the play action in the end. That's what's gonna happen. As long as Jared Goff has like those first 3 good drives, where maybe one of them ends in a field goal and the other one ends in a touchdown, and maybe one of those could end in a like in a punt or something, then it's okay. But I just think that this one Lions Cardinals screams game of the week.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a shootout. It's gonna be a great game. I cannot wait to see this matchup. I wish this matchup was on Sunday night. I really wish. 3
good games in a row: Rams, Bucks, and Cardinals.
Yeah. I'm
curious to hear your take on like top 10 best college teams and NFL teams.
Okay, well, let me, since I'm looking at
I can say mine first if you want.
Okay, like top 10 now,
top
right
10
off the bat?
for college and then top 10 for pro.
Okay, go for it. I want to hear yours.
Okay. So I think Texas, I think it's the clear overall number 1 for college in my opinion. because like Georgia barely beat Kentucky, bro, who got smashed
Yeah.
by South Carolina. I do think South Carolina got robbed by the refs against LSU because there was no that block, that he did on the quarterback was too big. The quarterback was running, and like you shouldn't. If a quarterback is running, it becomes a wide receiver, not like a quarterback. It's
Right.
That's why. So I think Texas is one,
Yeah,
and then
I agree.
I think honestly, coming crazy, but
Bama
I
is two.
think Ole Miss is number two, in my opinion,
Whoa, what?
because
Okay,
one,
I want to hear this. I have Ole
I
Miss up
guess
there, but
Mississippi Ole Miss has not played any really good contestants, good.
right.
But Jackson Dart has looked amazing,
Yeah, he has.
and they have literally blown out every single contestant. They've won.
Yeah.
Listen to this: 76-0, 52-3, and 40-6 against Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Like
No, they've
they've
played really
scored.
well.
The
No,
opponents
I
have
will
scored a
give you
total of
that.
9
Yeah.
points against their 190.
Okay, so that's your two. Who's your three though? Tennessee.
Then I'm not gonna put Tennessee that high. One, I don't want to jinx it, and two, if they beat Oklahoma, I will probably put them there. I probably will put like Georgia and then Ohio State, and then Georgia's still Georgia. So
Georgia's been like I don't
they're
know.
not that
They're
good,
not
but
that
I don't.
good, but
I can't put them down lower. It's
so
just
you're
like
saying Texas is one, two is Ole Miss, three is
I'm gonna put
Georgia at three.
and then I'm gonna put
Yeah.
Ohio State at 4 because Ohio State, even though they
Okay.
got off to a slow start this year,
Yeah.
I think they're still on top team. And they have a great dual running back. The quarterback, I don't really know how much about him. And then their defense has been looking good. For 5 though, I'm putting Miami. The
I agree.
reason
I agree that
put
yeah.
Miami came out of Miami is I think
yeah.
Cam Ward is the either
He's
with
looked good.
Quinn Ewers and Jackson Dart as the favorites for Heisman, or he's like second. And Miami also has not played terrible teams. They've played decent teams. They've played one. They absolutely smacked Florida. I know Florida was not playing DJ Longway, who's by far the better quarterback than the senior.
Right.
But they won 41-17, and then they won 56-9 against Florida A&M.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not. That's
So
not a good
Miami's
component.
your 5.
But then 6-2. 62-0 against Ball State
yeah, that was something.
was a blowout. And then I think
Yeah.
Tennessee is 6
Okay. Yeah.
because
That's a solid
they're
spot.
literally
No,
them
they're
and
like in
Ole Miss are basically
yeah,
the same.
they're pretty much yeah, no, okay.
And then I think I put 7. I'm gonna put Alabama because they've looked a lot better, even though they looked not that good against South Florida. They
Yeah.
pulled through, and Jalen Milroe is looking better. He's not as bad as he was. And then what was it? That was 8. I'm gonna put Missouri because
Yeah, I
think
mean Missouri's
they
just
haven't
gonna
they beat
no.
They beat Boston College, who beat
Yeah.
Florida State, what's not really that good anymore. But they've done well.
Yeah, no,
there's
you
not a lot
can't
of
you can no,
flaws.
yeah, there's really not, but
And then at 9 I'm gonna put USC. I think
yeah, I
USC,
agree. They've been looking really
Miller
good.
has been looking really good. They beat
Yeah.
LSU, who's supposed to be a top program,
But they're not anymore.
They're not
LSU
really
is
anymore.
LSU does not
and
look
then
great.
they beat Utah State 48-0. What Utah barely won against. So
yeah.
I think
So
personally,
who's at your 10 spot?
I'm at 10. Okay.
It's a tough one because there's some teams out there like
10. There's
it's tough. There's some teams
but
up
there's
there.
a lot of teams that are just like LSU, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan.
I would just
like,
put
They're all just like
yeah.
meh. Like they've done well, but they've also done really bad.
I think the 10th spot like will have to be determined like as this week goes.
Yeah, I don't have it. Maybe it could be
Yeah.
Nebraska, bro.
I was
I
thinking
mean,
the same thing. I
Nebraska
was
could be number
I was
10.
thinking the exact same thing.
I know they're ranked
So-
right now, ranked 22, but I think that's my opinion.
I think I agree with you at Texas. They're number 1. Number 2 for me. I mean, I really like Ole Miss this year. I really got a good feeling about them. I think they're really good. I like them. 2's tough. 'Cause I don't want to put Georgia because they're not like they don't look as great, but I mean they're still a powerhouse, so I give it that to them. I just think 2 right now is Bama. I think Bama's 2 because I mean they're still Bama.
They're still
Good
Bama.
defense. Jalen Milrose look good. Like
he's been
they
looking great.
pulled through. Like definitely that one game was a little scary for some people, but they pulled through.
I wanted them to lose so badly.
Yeah,
bro.
I know. I think Bama's 2, 3 is Ohio State, 4 is Georgia. 4 is Ole Miss. 4 is Ole Miss for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think 5's Georgia. I think Georgia at some point though. I think they're gonna lose against Bama next week, but I know it. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. I think what was that? Georgia was 5.
Yeah.
So Georgia's 5. 6. I'll keep Tennessee there. I'll keep Tennessee there. I mean, I don't like who they've been going up against, but I want to I guess I think it's a good spot for them because of the amount of points that they've been putting up against those teams.
All of college
But
football.
I think this week will determine a lot more where my top 10 is. But for now, Tennessee's at 6.
They haven't scored under 50 points.
I
yet.
know you're biased. It's okay. I get it.
And they've allowed a total of 13.
7 is Miami. 7 is Miami. I think Miami still has a little bit more to prove. The Florida Gators was a big win, but they still have a little bit more to prove. I think these bigger games down the stretch when they really matter and all that, I think that's going to make a big difference. That was what? Now 8?
That was 7. So now you're on 8.
8, I'm going to put USC at 8. I'm going to put USC at 8. I'm going to put no, you know what? Scratch that. I'm putting Missouri at 8. I'm putting USC at 9. I think USC that win against LSU was big.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that maybe there's some more. I think there's a little bit more stuff that I need to see from USC before I put them up there. But I like USC. I like where they're headed to. 10 spot. I'm going Nebraska. I'm going Nebraska. I think they look great. Say what you want to say about about Viola, but they've looked really good. They've looked really good. I think now moving on to the NFL, this is working. Okay.
You want me to go first again, or do you want to go first?
I'll go first. So, should we go from 10 to 1? Or
we went 1 to 10, so let's do 1 to 10 again.
1 to 10 again? Okay.
I think there's only 2 answers for
Yeah, I mean,
1.
Yeah, there's only 2 of them, really.
I think it's either Bills or Chiefs, in my opinion.
I think 1 is Chiefs.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
mean, now Mahomes has receivers, all that. They didn't look great against the Bengals, but I think though, it's every team has that week where they don't look that great, but they still pull out a win. So I think Chiefs are at 1. 2. Oh man, I don't know who's 2.
Okay, in my opinion, I think Bills are 1, Chiefs are at 2, just because the Bills have looked better in their games. Not because
no, that's true.
Mahomes
the defenses look
Mahomes
good.
did just throw 2 interceptions, and I don't think it was. I think it was PI. I don't think it was the normal Chiefs flag.
No,
that
it
had
was
been-
a pass interference.
it was
clean.
It was a normal call, not
Yeah.
a Chiefs. you're
The
about to
flag
lose
was
call.
late, which is what a lot of people questioned. But
But I do
it was
think
still it's still a fair call.
I think the Chiefs just off of the 2 games they've played, they're number 2,
Yeah.
and the Bills are number 1, in my opinion.
I think I'm gonna flip that. I think Chiefs are 1, Bills are 2.
No.
3. 3's the Texans right now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
3's
I
the
agree.
Texans
I
right
agree.
now. 4 is
I
I would at 4 right now. I would have put the Niners,
disagree.
but because they were so banged up and everything in that game that they played against Minnesota, they didn't
Yeah,
look
if
good.
they
So
were
4
healthy.
for me right now is the Detroit Lions. I like the Lions. I like where they're headed.
No, I mean
5 I think is gonna be the Bucks.
okay,
Five's-
no, I think
5's the Bucks.
I have it switched. I have Bucks at 4 and
Okay.
Lions at 5. Only because Lions they haven't been able to do a lot.
Yeah.
Like they won against the Rams and they
but
did
they
just
even
lose the Bucks
with
so by
them,
4.
like, yeah, they
But like Jared Goff has not looked that good.
no.
The only player that's on us, like St. Brown has done nothing. I don't think that's his fault. They just haven't involved him a lot. Amron, he's been banged up a little bit, and he also just had. I mean, he did well last game, but like, and then the running back games look great as usual, But like the main player is Jameson Williams on offense. Like their defense has definitely stepped up a lot with, Hutch having 4.5 sacks last game. What was crazy? I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%. Like
But
so
no,
I think Chiefs, Bills, Texans, Lions, Bucks. Niners are up there. Niners are up
I
there.
think Saints are at 6 in my opinion right now.
Niners are at
Saints are at 6.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know how the Cowboys are. I'm a big Dak Prescott hater. I don't like him at all. I don't like that.
I said Saints, not Cowboys.
No, I know. But like, I just think that game that Prescott played was terrible. He should have done a lot more.
But that's not on Dak. Okay, quarterbacks do get blamed a lot, but like it was
Fine.
partially on Dak.
Okay.
But if you let 41 points happen, that's not on Dak.
No, yeah, I know.
Dak should have
And I'm questioning everybody
but,
in
like-
Dallas. Where was Michael Parsons that game? Where was where was DeMarcus Lawrence?
They don't
in
have
that game?
They don't have Dan Quinn anymore. So
I
and Dan
know.
Quinn
Huge loss.
is one
Huge
of the
loss.
best defensive coordinators, I think. Like,
Yeah.
and for the last 50 years, he's been the best ones because I don't think he's a great head coach, but he's a great defensive coordinator.
No, definitely.
He-
I think
he-
as a DC,
he was part of the
he's
Legion of Boom,
awesome.
so
yeah,
I
he's,
think-
he's amazing.
I mean, I have
Um,
I have Saints at 6, 49ers at 7, just because
I have it switched. I got
because they haven't. I know injuries is not their fault, but
no.
they look good in the first game, but the second game they scored barely any points. I
Yeah.
know that's not their fault. And then they have Debo, Kittle, and CMC out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3. I think they're just gonna lose another game. I know power rankings or whatever are not off of injury sometimes, but I don't know. And then for 8, I don't know. I think maybe I'm gonna give it to the Cardinals. I know that's a crazy take, but
Ooh.
either Cardinals
I don't
or
hate
Rams.
it. I don't
think
hate it.
those are Cardinals and Rams are 8 and 9, and then because the Cardinals have just looked so good, I know
No,
they're
they
playing the
really
Lions,
have.
and then 10 I am gonna give it to the Packers. I know the Packers did lose their first game, and then Jordan Love did get out, but they've looked pretty solid.
Yeah, the Packers have looked really good. I don't think I'm putting the Packers
Maybe
up there
Seahawks at 10.
just because they don't Call me crazy, but just because they don't have Jordan Love up there, that's the only reason why. Like
that's fine.
that's why they're not up there. I would have the Packers
He's
like
practicing though.
at 11. I know I have the Packers still at 11. I think for me, like, okay, I think 1 Chiefs, 2 Bills, 3 Texans, 4 Lions, 5 Bucks. I like what they're doing. I think the Bucks can keep climbing up. 6 is the Niners. I know these injuries and all that don't look great, but the Niners still have a really deep roster. They're a very well run team and all that. They're gonna have some problems down the stretch, but like I don't see an issue there. The Saints are 7 for me. 8 is the Cardinals. 8 is the Cardinals. 9 is the Seahawks for me.
No, okay, yeah.
Well,
I know. I actually agree.
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna
I
take
like the
Packers
Seahawks,
out
yeah.
and put Seahawks at 10.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Like they've been playing really good defense.
They have played the
Like
Patriots and Broncos, though.
the offense looks good. I mean, like you said, DK looks good. Tyler Lockett looks good. JSN looks great. Geno Smith is playing really well. And at 10, I still have him up there in my top 10. I have the Eagles up there. That loss against Atlanta was not great. I know the Eagles can do way better. I know Jalen Carter and Darius Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I know they can do better. But I think because almost similar to the Niners, that because they're banged up, that's like not like the only reason why they lost that game, but like it. The AJ Brown was huge. Like, I mean, the other one I would honestly like. You know what? Actually, no, I don't like that at all. I think I changed my mind. I'm gonna put. It's because it was a really bad game by the Eagles. That last drive, like, it killed it.
I find it funny, all of the memes from
I know,
Saquon
it's so
dropping
funny.
it because
Oh my
and
God,
Giants
it's
fans were like,
hilarious.
"That's the Saquon we know."
You know what? At 10, I like the defense. I like what the offense has done, and it's been a bit of surprise. And right now, they're the better team out there in that city. Give me the Chargers at 10. Give me the Chargers at 10.
Interesting.
Okay, listen.
Not a terrible pick.
J.K. Dobbins has done a really good job. Joe Alt, I cannot wait to see that matchup between Joe Alt and TJ Watt. That is going to be such a fun matchup. I will say, TJ Watt's not going to get his way, but like Joe Alt looks really good.
Yeah.
Like he's looked really good. Like, I think, obviously TJ Watt's going to get his fair share of sacks, but it's gonna be a really good game. It's gonna be a defensive game. It's gonna be a really good one. There could be some points scored and everything, but the Chargers, their offense looks good. I mean, at the beginning of the season, if you asked me preseason or even week 1, like going into week 1 and everything, like I would have told you that the Chargers would be 0-2. I am very surprised that they're 2-0 right now.
I predicted them to be like 6-12, or 6.
Yeah, I predicted them to have like maybe like 6-7 wins. Like that's it, but like. Jim Harbaugh's done a really good job.
No, he did well on the 49ers.
He's done a really good job.
Jim Harbaugh on the 49ers.
He did an amazing job. And the thing is, like, Ladd McConkey's looked really good. Quentin Johnson can finally catch a ball. What's it called?
Braylon Staley's not there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that was
bad.
a big. He was terrible. I think it's the same thing as Staley. I think like he is a really good defensive coordinator, but he is not a head coach.
He might be worse than Josh.
He's 100%. I agree. If you had both of those guys on the same team, oh my God, your team is not gonna see a single win.
I mean, we
for
had
3
that
years.
with the playoff match where Brandon Staley.
He choked it. Yep.
We didn't have to take any time out.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the end of our podcast. We will be back.
We'll be back next week
for another week of NFL and college football. Excited to see what this week brings, definitely for my Vols and Lions. But have a good week. This is Locked In Podcast, and signing off.